morning. It's Thursday, April 16th. And today I'm not going to rant. I've got a story I want to tell you. It's a good, feel-good story. When Israel's health minister was found to be infected with the coronavirus early this month, all high-level officials in close contact with him were quarantined, including one who stood out, the director of Mossad, the storied Israeli spy service. So why would Yossi Cohen, a widely respected figure in the country, have been in the same room as the health minister, Yaakov Litzman? Mr. Cohen's powerful agency, it turns out, has been deeply involved in Israel's fight against the virus and has been one of the country's most valuable assets in acquiring medical equipment and manufacturing technology abroad, according to the Israeli medical and security officials. The initial predictions about COVID-19 in Israel were bad. And as it turns out right now, they have proved too pessimistic. With nearly 11,000 cases of the virus now confirmed and 103 deaths, Israel does not rank among the hardest hit countries in the world. Right now, it's clear that the expansion rate in Israel is behind it. It's slowing down there. But in early February, officials at Sheba Medical Center, Israel's biggest hospital, realized that they needed more ventilators and other gear. And around that time, the Director General of the hospital met with Mr. Cohen, the Mossad chief, at a private event involving a mutual friend. And this isn't unusual in a small country. By then, Mr. Cohen had already begun to assess how the Mossad could help the Israeli health system. Cohen and the Director General discussed the most urgent equipment needs. Cohen then obtained further lists from the health ministry, and the Mossad began activating its international network to find the items needed. Pretty good for a spy agency, right? In early March, a command and control center was set up to handle the distribution of medical gear across the country, with Mr. Cohen at its head and headquartered at the Sheba Medical Center. There were representatives from Mossad, the Ministry of Defense Purchasing Division, and the Military Intelligence Highly Secretive Unit 81, which deals with the development of advanced espionage equipment. Who knows what they were ready to make, right? The Director General of the hospital, a former Army surgeon, said Mossad had been pivotal in helping his institution secure vital medical equipment and expertise from abroad. It is only in Israel that the Sheba Hospital could have enlisted the Mossad. This is what he told an interviewer. And then he said, "Can you imagine Mount Sinai Hospital going to the CIA for help?" Of course, he's referring to our Mount Sinai Hospital. And I can't imagine them going to the CIA. Now, Mossad being Mossad, right? Nobody there will say precisely how officers had helped the Israeli medical establishment or where the imported equipment came from. But according to Israeli officials with knowledge of the Mossad's operation, the agency used international contacts to prevent shortages that might have overwhelmed Israel's health system. Now, 6 people who spoke on the condition of anonymity, because the Mossad's activities are classified, said the agency's contacts have proved invaluable in enabling Israel to acquire ventilators and testing material that the health ministry had been unable to secure. Despite these efforts, however, there is still a lack of testing capacity in Israel. These people would not confirm non-Israeli media reports that some of the items were acquired from neighboring Arab nations with no official diplomatic relations with Israel. That's pretty good. Think about this. There was no time to waste, so Mossad didn't waste any of it. That's the ethos that has helped Mossad build and protect the country of Israel. And of course, it enhances their reputation. There's something to be said for being a small country. The country's health system was embarrassed that it had to enlist Mossad because it had not readied itself to respond to the type of threat represented by the coronavirus. That's according to a high-ranking official in the Israeli health system. Anyhow, the first shipment acquired abroad by Mossad arrived in Israel on a special flight on March 19th. 100,000 coronavirus testing kits, said an official. Subsequent shipments included more testing kits, 1.5 million surgical masks, tens of thousands of N95 masks, protective overalls for the first aid crews, protective goggles, and a range of medications. According to another high-ranking official knowledgeable about the Mossad operation. Notice we're getting everything from high-ranking officials, but nothing is official, right? The Mossad also helped obtain technology from outside Israel that enabled many Israeli laboratories to conduct coronavirus tests. Mossad operatives also secured the necessary know-how to produce ventilators in Israel. Remember the story about those Italian kids that were sued because they produced the valve on a 3D printer? Using technological expertise brought in by Mossad, production lines that can produce 25 million protective masks a month are gradually being set up. And that's another high-ranking official talking. According to one senior Israeli official, the Mossad knew it had to act urgently, with the demand for such equipment expected to grow, and with the understanding that countries would eventually refuse to export essential medical products. The Mossad's efforts were easier in non-democratic countries, where the intelligence agencies have more influence with the rulers. These efforts were based on prior familiarity and mutual trust between Mossad and their counterparts. In some instances, the official said Mr. Cohn personally contacted his counterparts, and such contacts were often enough to expedite the purchase of the goods. In other cases, the official said Mr. Cohn spoke directly to the rulers of particular countries, which he declined, of course, to identify. So, as countries begin to hunt for the same gear, competition intensifies, and the battle is not always waged fairly. While none of the people with knowledge of Mossad's operations explicitly acknowledge that the agency may have played dirty, they do not rule it out. I don't rule it out. The Mossad has to do it, whatever way. The country that they are defending is always on the edge. So this doesn't surprise me that Mossad was able to do what they did, and it doesn't surprise me that Israel had the chutzpah to manage this operation. And that's my happy tale for today. See you tomorrow.